So, hello and welcome to the next part of our life. Last time we finished all of our moments, at least in step 2. So, all that remains is to end summer. So, let's see how this summer comes to an end this time. And I'm hoping everything will be alright since I downloaded a new version and everything. Needed to update everything to version 1.3. I hope there won't be any issues. And then summer ended. Yes, I am sure I have nothing else to do anymore here. There was no denying it. Today was the very last day of summer. Tomorrow you were heading to class. It was a bummer. Summer had been so much fun. When you thought about going back to school, it was with a sense of loss. Soon you wouldn't be able to choose how your days were spent without the school bell telling you where to be and when. It was with a heavy heart that you choose your outfit for your final day of freedom. Life was going to be different. You had come to think of summer vacation as the norm, but school sucked up the majority of the year, whereas the summer vacation was just a respite in the middle. So rather than it being different, it was kind of a return to the normal? What did your normal life really mean? You considered how fondly your moms talked about their summer vacation as kids. You dimly recognized that one year the pattern of school and summer itself would be over for good. It was hard to imagine. You'd gotten distracted, one arm still out of a sleeve. You pulled it through and put your mind back to the present. This season had brought about plenty of changes of its own, like Kyra's visit, though that too was coming to an end today. I'm happy I had a chance to get to know her. She's pretty fun. She was interesting to be around. You liked how easy it was to talk to her. You finished dressing, which was good. Cover would be there any moment. You'd agreed to see his mom off together. Officially, the plan was that he would come over to bring you around to his house when she was ready to set off, but you both knew that you would be hanging out for at least a little while beforehand. Kyra's visit had troubled Cover when it first happened. It had been a sudden change, thanks to Mr. Holden's infamous tendency to surprise people, but once he was able to adjust, he'd been in pretty good spirits with her around. It was a relief for everyone. The next thought that crossed your mind was... I do always come to the door. It would be kind of weird if you don't, if you're expecting someone. You strolled down the stairs. Someone else might have been able to answer it, but he was your guest. It was only a few minutes later when the doorbell rang. As you'd chosen to stand beside it to wait for Cover, there was no delay in pulling it open. Cover was there, just as you'd expected. Seeing you, he flashed you a bright grin. Hi, Rina. Hi, Cover, come in. Once he stepped inside, you beckoned for him to follow you upstairs. Back in your room, you sat down on your bed and waited for Cover to settle in as you knew he would. With other guests, you might have offered them a seat, but you and Cover were long past those tentative stages of friendship. Your room was as familiar to him as his own. You watched as Cover sat down on your desk chair, his preferred spot. He rolled it closer to the bed to make it easier to chat, tweaking the angle so that he was facing you fully. Once happy with the position, he leaned in towards you, hands held in his lap. His actions weren't the ones of someone who planned on moving from a spot anytime soon, even though you had an appointment to keep together that day. When's your mom leaving?
Don't worry about it.
We've got some time. She's still got a shower and stuff before she goes. She didn't want me to keep hanging around while she was doing that. He lifted his head, his gaze drifting out through the window, and chuckled. I can't believe she's already leaving. Just when I'm getting used to her being there every day. He leaned back in the chair, a wry smile tickling his cheek. Let's be an old person and be like, time goes by so fast. He cocked his head thoughtfully before shrugging. He ran a hand through his hair before shaking his head, as if shaking off the topic like a dog whipping off water following a drip in the sea. Cover packed an elbow on the chair's arm and propped his jaw against his curled hand. There was a natural ease to his movements, a familiarity from the echoes of all the time before when he had sat in that same position. This was a really nice summer. Looking forward to the next. Carver, still nestled cozily in your chair, smiled at your response. How are your fish doing? Really good. Things in the tank are stable and everybody looks healthy. That was nice to hear. You'd learned from Carver how hard it was to maintain the aquarium. Spark has been busy, keeps darting between the plants and out again when I walk by, like a game of peekaboo. Or hide and seek. Yeah. Carver idly glanced out the window. He gave a resigned sigh. It's gonna be harder to surf, you know, with school, it's getting colder out. I might store my board away. Surfing's cool when we can. It's too bad we can't make the most of the waves, but there's other fun stuff to do. He gave a light smile coupled with a shrug as a response. It won't be long until we get our grades for the summer work we did. Carver's bank fluttered as he huffed, sinking in the chair. I'm not looking forward to that. We'll just have to see what minds are like. Carver looked at you, eyes bright. Things will work out, I know it. Do you think we'll see Miranda around school this year? Probably. She could be in one of our classes again. Would be nice to see her again. Rina, Corville! The sudden call from downstairs caught you both unaware. You'd nearly forgotten the world outside your room. From the guilty look on his face, Corville had done the same. Just a call. Corville's mom is ready to go. If you're quick, she might keep the mandated motherly smothering to a minimum. You doubted that, but it was nice that Mom and Mrs. Breeze had a strange sense of humor in common. Your eyes met Corville's. Wordlessly you headed down the stairs together. Each step on the way there was painfully slow, like he was trying to delay the inevitable. His whole body tensed leaving the house, and Corville froze altogether before you both could cross the street. The door's open. Dad must be taking her stuff out. He swallowed hard. She's really gonna leave. Give his back a pat. Your motion was soft and you weren't sure if he even noticed at first. I'll be okay. Corville's bottom lip quivered, and he turned away. You gave his back a couple more reassuring pats. Thanks. At that, some of the conflict wearing on his face eased a bit. Together you went across the street and inside the house, finding his parents in the living room surrounded by his mom's packed things. Hey kids. Good timing. I just called a taxi. Hi. And hi, Rina. So glad I got to see you today. It was fabulous getting to know you this summer. I finally got to put a face to the name I heard so many times. She winked and Cover pounded on cue over the teasing. I hope you had a good time visiting. I really did, thank you. Nodding, Kara turned her attention back to her boys. She patted Cliff on her arm with a warm smile, and then she enveloped Cover in a crushing hug. Initially, Cover screamed to break free from her grip, but his mom was unfazed and kept him locked in place. Heartbeats later, he gave in and hugged her back lightly.
I'm so glad.
And I'm so happy this trip was a success. Cliff looked like he was bursting with pride. Well, not 100% success, but still a passing grade, I think. Thinking back on how everything that happened this summer, he started to look sheepish. Cliff scratched the side of his head, and an awkward chuckle escaped Cover. There were ways it could have gotten smoother. I'm still keeping that in mind for the future.
Alright.
Good for you, Cliff, and I'll be trying harder to stay more in the loop. You watched his Cover smile softly at both of his parents, and you felt relieved seeing how much the whole family had come together since you first met them. Despite any underlying trouble, love was still there. After that, it wasn't long before a taxi arrived. Rolling in front of the house and in clear view of the open door, Kyra stood up, smiling sadly. Well, that's my ride. Yeah. The matching reply got a chuckle out of Kyra as you all filed out of the house. Father and son went with Kyra's bags in hand. Once outside, you spotted your family waiting by the street. And to your surprise, Derek was also with them. He stood uncomfortably, and he waved as soon as you noticed him.
What's up?
Hey, Rina. What was Derek's voice again? It was a high one, I know. When did you get here? My dad dropped me off just a little bit ago, though I could visit one more time before school started.
Sorry.
You picked a busy time, sorry. Derek couldn't even look at Cover. He nervously kept rolling a pebble with the bottom of his shoe.
Sorry.
I wasn't even thinking that your mom would be leaving today. I'm sorry, dude. What? You're not interrupting anything. You're always welcome here. It would have been sad if I didn't get to say goodbye before leaving. I think so too. It was apparent Derek would have preferred to have gotten there at a more opportune moment. He never liked seeming impolite, but the reassuring words soothed his worries. The tension he was holding in his body lessened, and he looked like he was feeling much more like himself. Bye, Derek. It was fun getting to know you. Bye, ma'am. Is there anything I can do to help? Nah, don't worry yourself about that. We're just about to set. In that short amount of time, Cliff had gathered and packed the bags into the trunk. Kara took one last look at everyone inside. Alright, I don't want to keep the driver waiting, it's time to head out. The little crowd that had formed around started their chorus of farewells and well wishes traveling, but Kara still made no move to get into the taxi. She placed her attention on Cover. I'll call when I get to the airport and when I make it to Nevada. Also, you better call the moment you walk in the door at home, otherwise we'll be wondering all night if you got into trouble on the way there.
Can do.
I can do that. And could you call tomorrow too, so I can tell you how school went? Of course, I want to hear all about it. Kyra put the hands on Cover's head and affectionately ruffled his hair one last time. She then let go, only to move on to squeezing his cheeks in her hands instead. Mom, I love you so much, baby. He was chuckling by the time she freed him and rounding things off with a small tap on the tip of his nose. Cover rubbed at his face with a grin. Finally, she walked to the car while waving and took her seat in the taxi. Cliff hooked an arm around Cover's shoulder and kept him close as it began to pull away. For a moment, Cover looked up at his dad and then wrapped an arm across his back.
Bye.
Bye, Mom. Bye. Travel safe. Kara rolled down the window and stuck her head out of it. She waved again while blowing kisses at Cover and Cliff. See you again. Before she was out of sight, you decided to wave goodbye. As the taxi headed down the road, you stuck your hand in the air to send her off. The cab turned around another road and completely disappeared from view. Cover let go of his dad and took a few steps out into the empty street, still looking into the direction his mom went. He smiled quietly, deep in thought. He got the impression Cover was feeling better than he was earlier. He was finally content with the way things were. You jumped a bit when your mom put a hand on your shoulder, pulling you away from your thoughts. She smiled when you looked at her. This was a great vacation, huh? Yeah. Yeah, it was a good one. Cover walked back over to the group, still genuinely happy. Derek grinned at him welcomingly, and everyone else smiled at him, even Elizabeth.
Well?
Well? Ma clapped her hands together, bringing everyone's attention back to the present. It's almost lunchtime. I think I'll put something special together. Her eyes sparkled with a plan, and Mom smiled. I bet you could use some help with that. That would be absolutely wonderful. Derek glanced between the two and his eyebrows furrowed. Is there something... Ugh, Derek, what was your voice again? I cannot remember how I did your voice before. Is there something I could do? Your mom's exchanged a fond expression. Ma shook her head.
How sweet.
That's very sweet, Derek, but it's alright. That's not your job. Technically, your dad left you on the cliff's watch. You're meant to be you're meant to be taken care of by him, not doing chores for the neighbors. Mom laughed a little over her own joke. You watched Derek look away, discouraged. It's okay, I don't mind. He was a little bashful about it. He wondered if Mom's joke had just reminded him that he wasn't initially meant to be invited for lunch. It was getting a little awkward. Mom grinned sympathetically. Her comment was meant to lighten the mood and not bring it back down. Ma tried again to get things moving forward. Why don't you kids go have some fun? You all can come back in about an hour. We'll make enough for everyone. Mom nodded in agreement. Another stunning idea, Lani. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That sounds like a plan then. I don't want to cramp your style. I've got some stuff to work on, so I can be out of your hair this afternoon. You should come by later too. No reason you should be the odd man out. Mom seemed amused as Cliff rubbed his neck nervously. He grinned a wavering but pleasing smile.
Thanks very much.
I appreciate the invite. He looked over the assembled crowd with knowing glances. I can help too, with as many people as you're feeding. It's going to be a lot of food. Didn't you hear what we told Derek? It wouldn't be fair to make you cook when we're the ones who are inviting you guys in. Ma raised an eyebrow when Cliff waved it off.
Come on.
I insist. Derek would be missing time with his pals. This would be a break for me. I'm quite a chef. Ma and Mom exchanged further glances before Mom shrugged. An airtight argument. If you're sure, we'll be happy to have you, Chef Cliff. Cliff's grin widened and seemed more happy than what you'd expect him to be about helping with lunch, Cover shook his head, a fond smile on his face. Then all of us grown-ups will be heading inside. I assume the rest of you kiddos are staying out? Maybe not all of them. Ma tilted her head, a silent question for Elizabeth. Your sister thought for a moment. I'll stay with the kids.
That's fantastic.
That's great. Both your moms smiled at her while Derek and Cover didn't seem to appreciate her phrasing. But with the plans decided, all three parents waved and headed for your house. It was just you teenagers now. Elizabeth looked at you and the others, a curious expression on her face. So, what now? You silently wondered if Elizabeth only stayed out with you to avoid getting roped into work. Then again, she could just genuinely want to hang out, you couldn't tell with your sister. Cover spoke up after no one else did to answer Elizabeth's question. Wanna go to the shopping street? It's been a while, and I don't think there's a lot of other things we could agree on. Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
Sounds awesome to me. Unlike you guys, I haven't been there for 1,001 times, it's new to me. Okay. You strolled across the road as a group, down to the beach and then to the left. It took less than 15 minutes to arrive, one of the conveniences of Sunset Bird. The four of you looked around at the familiar shops, trying to see if anything caught your attention this time. Derek was the most enthusiastic. He checked out every store with his eyes, wide with wonder. Elizabeth and Cover were in good spirits as well. That's so cool! He ran over to a street magician who was currently doing a card trick for a group of enchanted tourists. Derek clapped when the magician showed a middle-aged man his card. Derek turned back to the group with a curious gleam on his face. What does it take to perform here anyway? Do you have to ask somebody, or do you just show up and start doing stuff? Who would you even ask? It's a public street. Hey, Miss Major, can I pull a rabbit out of my hat? Please, Flopsy is well behaved, I promise. Derek chuckled, his eyes searching up and down the scene. Maybe there's a boss of the shopping street. No one does any of this around my neighborhood. It's just a regular stores behind the walls. It's different if someone wants a real store, but here I'm pretty sure people are just putting on their little shows whenever they want and do whatever. That's so neat! Would we be allowed to do something too? Cover laughed and Derek began almost vibrating with excitement. Elizabeth rolled her eyes. What would we do? Well, I don't know what, not yet. I mean, I just found out it's a possibility, you know? But there's gotta be something. You know, cool stuff. I'm sure if we think about it, we could plan a show that will get the crowd pumped. I do not want to be a part of this. I will share him under. I wonder if I could do some soccer tricks. Do you think that would work? I don't know yet. With some amusement, the gang continued to peruse the stalls. Elizabeth found some earrings with a dangling, badly misprinted globe that everyone laughed at. Cover picked out the blob as Iceland, but Derek thought it had to be Greenland. You know this is a world. This is a world with what looks like 9 continents? I think you're both wrong. It's funnier if you have a new opinion on it. The other 3 giggled at your interjection. Suddenly Cover froze. You stared at him and then tried to see what caught his attention. Then you saw a familiar face down the way. It all made sense. Jeremy. Between the crowds, his bright hair stood out like a neon gene ball in the kitchen sink. It was Jeremy. Elizabeth, go! Be our shield. I'm pretty sure you have some very nice things to say to this dude. It's a privilege. It's a privilege of having an older sister. Because the older sister can mess with the people messing with their little siblings. You don't mess with little siblings, you know? Not when the older sibling is there. That's like a very bad idea. Jeremy slowly drifted his eyes down the street, and his eyes widened in mutual recognition. He definitely noticed you. Be gone, Jeremy, be gone. Be gone or grow up. Derek frowned and Cover tensed up. You couldn't help but remember the last time you'd seen Jeremy at Miranda's birthday party. You wonder Cover was already defensive. No wonder Cover was already defensive. I would pretend I never saw him. You didn't even want to start with Jeremy's shenanigans today. Elizabeth raised an eyebrow. Her gaze swept over Jeremy without a hint of a clue. Jeremy simply scoffed to himself and waded deeper into the crowd of people. Derek relaxed and exhaled loudly. I'm glad he's not gonna start anything. He picked over at Elizabeth with a tiny smirk. See? That was the mean kid.
What?
Huh? She still didn't get it. That first summer day hadn't made nearly as much of an impression on her as it did for Derek, but he smiled and waved it off. Just forget about him. I already have. Apparently. He laughed and Cover smiled lightly. He seemed to be in a much better mood now that Jeremy was gone. Your eyes wandered over to where Jeremy disappeared. You hadn't forgotten the day you met him either. He was only going to be in town for a vacation with the parents he hated. That glimpse was probably the last time you would ever see him. Good riddance. I am sorry, but I may be a pushover, but I'm not that nice that I'm going to go after someone who was only ever mean to me. He has to show good graces first. Well, I'm not gonna be the one. He was the one who was mean first, so... And Jeremy's probably gone for good now. It's time for him to go back to wherever he's from. Yeah, guess we don't have to worry about that guy anymore. Derek kicked at the little rock in the road. It clattered forward and then rolled under a stall. But I still think it's kinda sad Jeremy turned out to be, well, like he is. It would have been nice to make another friend. Carver shook his head. He was clearly not broken up over what might have been. Good riddance. Elizabeth rolled her eyes at the strange farewell to the odd boy, not interested in the slightest. She clearly didn't understand his impact, and at this point she didn't want to understand. Jeremy was unlike anyone you had ever met before. I don't know what I think about him. He's an annoying little brat, that's what he is. You and the group moved on from the stalls and from Jeremy. It didn't take long for everyone to return to the joking. You all enjoyed what little time you had left, as Elizabeth mentioned the hour was almost up. The little trip had flown by, and lunch must have been waiting for you now. Derek bounced on the balls of his feet.
Okay.
Come on, guys! Let's get going so we can eat. I'm starving. Homebound we go. Cover stretched one of his arms lazily. Let's go then. You looked at him appraisingly. Okay, you are giving me a very interesting choice here, game. You know that I am the type of person who will not be able to resist. Hey, Cover. Yeah? Could you carry me back home? What? Cover said Cover smile said he was amused, while the tilt of his eyebrows was full of disbelief. I don't want to walk back. Piggyback ride. I want a piggyback ride, and you're the only one big enough to give me one. Cover sighed and shook his head. Elizabeth and Derek became a chorus of laughter. Come on, Cover, it will be fun. Really? You're gonna do it? At the first mention of disapproval, I would have backed off. Because I wasn't actually serious. Was just for fun. Well, good luck carrying. Then Cover stepped over to you. He looked like he couldn't believe what he was doing. Your lips quirked into a large smile. Oh yeah, thanks. He carefully crouched down in front of you so that you could climb on. It wasn't hard to hop on. He slipped his arms under your legs and did his best to lift you. It was wobbly, but he managed to stand all the way up. Elizabeth watched with a smirk on her face while Derek laughed even harder. It was fair to say that your antics were entertaining. You were glad Cover went with it. Cover carried you home contentedly. Other than a few good-natured jokes at your expense, he didn't complain. He made it all the way back to your home without putting you down. Congrats, boy. It must have been at least somewhat of a walk, like 100 meters? At least? Boy is strong. It was a pleasant walk home, and in no time you had made it back. Derek got the front door and held it open for everyone as you moseyed inside. The three parents were still in the kitchen. They looked up and waved. Welcome back, everyone. You made it just in time. I hope you're hungry. When Cover had brought you inside, the parents couldn't help but notice the odd conveyance. You didn't... Okay. You're gonna parade to your parents like that? Alright. Your moms were unsure and Mr. Horn raised an eyebrow. Did you poo something, Rina? I'm okay. Aw, Kobe, you've gotten so strong. And reliable too, what a guy. Cover rolled his eyes at the commentary, then walked to your couch. He bent over and let yourself plop back on the couch. Thanks for the lift. Cover exhaled loudly and shook out his arms. He seemed relieved that he made it. So, did everyone have a nice time out? She gestured for people to take a seat at the table. Plates and silverware have already been placed out. You took your normal seat. Elizabeth sat across from you, and Derek took the seat to your left. Cover sat to your right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we had a great time. It was fine. I had fun. The bankies went off without a hitch. It's very in character for me to say it was okay, I guess, though. I say everything is okay. I don't actually use words that have a strong meaning very often, so it's mostly, yeah, it was okay. It tastes okay. It was okay. It's always okay. So, yeah. That's good in my book. Casually, Mr. Holden sat in an empty seat across from Cover. He smiled at you and all the other kids. Mom sat down a platter full of water glasses on a table. She looked down at the gathering. It's a good thing we have 8 chairs. I can't remember the last time we had a group this big over for a meal. Can you pass the drinks down to the other side? Make sure you all get one. Sure. Those close to the cups are bleached, and started offering waters around. As everything got set up, Ma chided Elizabeth to take her elbows off the table. Haha, my elbows are always on the table.
Now.
And you shouldn't slosh. She pointed to Mr. Holden, who was leaning forward with both arms on the table. Oops. Mr. Holden seemed unsure about all the sudden attention and carefully rearranged his posture to something suitable for a fancy dinner. He smiled sheepishly at Ma. Elizabeth rolled her eyes and Ma gave a level look at her. You shouldn't be impolite to a guest in the house either. Elizabeth groaned, long and long suffering. Ma giggled, and Mr. Holden chuckled.
Not bad.
The lot of you could learn a thing or two from Derek. He has the best manners here. Derek blushed, and it was true. His posture was upright and formal. He even held his fork gracefully. His table manners were on top of all his attempts to aid your parents, made him the model of meal attendee behavior.
Aw.
It's nothing. It's true though, you have been a very lovely guest. I've noticed that too. It's always nice when you stay over, Derek. Derek smiled and sat a little taller in his chair. And do you have anything good to say about our Alba guest? She looked deliberately at Cover with a teasing smirk. Or is there nothing to say? Well, Cover's my number one, but he does still clean his hands by wiping them off on his pants. Cover frowned at that and absent-mindedly brushed his hands on his pant leg. Yeah, your moms laughed lightly.
There.
Elizabeth, you should know after all these years Cover is hardly a guest anymore. Cover smiled awkwardly. Thanks. Manners. I do not have very good manners myself, but I will not make a big deal out of it. So I'll keep quiet and eat your food. The parents made an excellent lunch. You took another bite and minded your own business. Everyone ate the lunch together and continued to hang out for the afternoon. After the food, you and the other played a couple games and talked about plans for the upcoming year. The time passed by quickly and soon it was time to part ways. Mr. Holden talked to your moms and Cover drifted over to you, knowing that as soon as his dad finishes up, he would be leaving. It'd be cool to stay, but we have some stuff to do before everything closes today.
Okay.
Yeah, bye. Could you move? I need a phone. Cover raised an eyebrow and Elizabeth impatiently gestured behind him. Cover realized he was standing right in front of where the receiver was placed. He sidestepped out of the way and shook his head, clearly thinking Elizabeth was rushing too much. Your sister made a beeline for the phone and started dialing the number of what you figured was one of her friends. Knowing Elizabeth, she was going to be on there for a while. You, Cover, and Derek shuffled closer to the door. It seemed like Mr. Holden was wrapping up his conversation, so everyone started saying their various farewells.
Talk to you later.
See you later, Cover. We're gonna do this again sometime. Yeah, see you. Cover turned to you and smiled lightly. Bye, Rina. I always wave. It's always waving. You accompanied the gesture with a smile on your face. Cover waved back with a warm look in his eyes. I see you soon, okay? Seriously, dude. We'll hang out later. I'm gonna miss you during school. He offered Cover a high five and the two boys clapped their hands together. Cover and his dad left soon after that. Your parents started cleaning up the house and Elizabeth was still chatting to her friends on the phone. It was just you and Derek left. He elected to stay outside in front of the house to wait for his dad to pick him up. You decided to keep your guest company, although he was originally Cover's visitor. A light summer breeze blew through your hair and Derek shifted his weight from foot to foot. Thanks for waiting with me. He kicked at the ground distractedly.
Well,
That's gonna be... still gonna be a while. Do you wanna go for a walk? Sure, I don't mind. The two of you walked down the street again, just wandering without a destination planned. It was a quiet stroll, too quiet for Derek being the company. You turned to him when you had noticed that he wasn't saying a word. That was unusual. Derek always had something he could chat about. You weren't sure if you should ask about it. Somehow you ended up at the old park near the beach. You glanced over to Derek once more, still expecting him to say something any second now. However, nothing came from him. In fact, you noticed a frown creeping on his face. Derek smiled when he realized you were watching, at least his mouth was turned up. There wasn't anything that really felt happy in the expression. He turned away and the smiles fell off his face. His eyes stared intently at the ground and you raised an eyebrow. Is everything okay? I'm a little sad. It's just, with school starting back up, it's gonna be harder to visit. I'm gonna have homework and clubs and practices and everything else.
sucks.
It really sucks we go to different schools. His face screwed up and his fists were closed tightly together, and this was really concerning him. What if we don't have time? You can always make time, honestly. And like, even if you don't have much time to visit, it's not like they're out of your mind. I mean, it may be because I'm a major introvert, but like, even if it's not that often, as long as you see each other, you're still friends. We'll make time. We can talk over the phone and have plans for the weekends. It will be okay. Derek looked up at the sky. It was orange and purple with little wisps of clouds scattered around. A plane flew high with a jet stream tailing behind it. Then he turned to the ground again. Derek's face was tilted far enough down that it was harder to read his expression. Hey Rina, I actually wanted to talk to you about something if you don't mind. There was a pause and you waited for him to finish his thought.
Sorry.
I was kind of wondering, do you like guys at all? Like, would you ever want to be with someone who was a boy? Sorry if that's weird to ask. Oh no, I want to ruffle his head. He needs a pat on the head. I mean, it's kinda difficult. Dating one asexual is very difficult. Well, technically, yeah. It's just very difficult. Oh no. Okay, then. He hesitated before finishing his question.
Oh.
Oh no, I want to pet your head. So, what I mean is, just, is there any guy you think is kind of cool that you like around here? Not at school or anything like that? Oh no. He ducked his head further. You thought about it. Wouldn't it be kind of mean if you said I like you, considering that Derek doesn't have his DLC out right now, so... But well, we gotta be a bit in character now. We are just fond with cover, but I do plan to put it on crush as soon as we reach the next step, so it's not right now.
Okay.
Okay, I get that. So... Derek pulled himself together somewhat meekly. He looked at you while he tried to project confidence. His posture was too tight for you to leave it. He was nervous.
Alright.
You know, thinking ahead and everything is important. You gotta get yourself a game plan and all that. It's good to make plans, especially backup plans. He babbled, all full of energy and forced gusto. Well, anyway, I heard about this thing where people make pacts with their good friends that if they don't find anyone else, then they get together. Oh no! Oh no! It's very valid. That's actually very valid. If basically you said to me, okay, you have to marry someone right now, then I most certainly would marry one of my friends. That's like, obviously. And who knows, if the tax benefits are really good, who knows? It might just become reality someday. together, like they get married and stuff. So I was thinking, since it's good to have plans, it might be cool if we did something like that. Oh no! I don't want to turn you down, but I have to. His eyes widened and he started to make frantic hand gestures. Oh no! Oh no! Oh. You will have your time, Dexter. You will have your time. It will be alright. You will get a DLC. It will be alright. Just, you know, then we would never have to worry about the future of finding someone. We can send like a whole decade in the future, forever from now. We would have graduated high school and probably college too. We would have jobs and be really grown up. No. I mean, we probably have our own places and maybe our own pets, student loans, cars. Oh yeah, this is fucking America, isn't it? Derek babbled on for a while more. Was this? If all the words he held in silence during your walk had burst out now all at once. So yeah, what do you think? This would be a very mean option right now. And this isn't... let's not now. I'm very sorry, Derek, but this is a cover playthrough. I'll think about it. It's kind of a big decision for just being put on a spot. Yeah, sure, don't worry about it. It was just an idea. Thanks for hearing me out and answering my questions and stuff. You felt a little worried that Derek wasn't happy. When he saw your face, he smiled encouragingly.
It's okay.
I promise I'm not mad, I was just wondering. I'm sure things will be okay in the future, no matter what. You just nodded. Oh no. You didn't spend much longer at the park after that. Derek didn't want to miss his dad, so you both made your way back to your street. After Derek went home, you decided to settle in for the night. Stretching your arms over your head, you noticed that the living room and the phone were free. I think I would want to talk about it. Doing it on the phone is not my style, but, well, I had the luxury of WhatsApp for a while. Come on, let's talk about it. You picked up the receiver and quickly punched in the familiar number while going to take a seat on the couch. Soon enough after explaining the situation to the housekeeper, Lee answered. Hey! Hey! Hi Lee, can you talk? Definitely. Well, basically, we practically have to. My gosh, can you believe it's almost time for school to start? What happened to our summer? School starts first thing tomorrow for me. Ew. And I thought starting next week was bad enough. Enjoy your last week. Oh, I will. I hope you'll survive your first day. Me too. I need a good year. Ditto. At least summer was nice while it lasted, right? We were busy. Hmm? Fondly you thought about all the best memories you made this summer. Leo was there for some, but there were still many you hadn't filled in it. Her in on yet. I mean, why not? You began to speak about... That's a bit personal. I think she would have a lot of fun talking about the Sohiri. Just in case you didn't notice, I always play the DLC moments in the off time because, well, the developers gotta make money, you know? It's a really good game, so I try not to show any of the DLC stuff in the videos to basically animate more people to actually buy the DLCs, you know? But they are still mentioned, of course, afterwards because programming is good. I went to a soiree with my mom's country club. There was lots of food, dancing, and people dressed up formally. Oh, I've been to one of those. They're cool, but how did it go for you? I did dance with a mysterious stranger. I was just trying it out and wondering if it was a good idea. That's exciting. I want to be swept off my feet by a mysterious stranger. It wasn't exactly like that. After loving a bit, you dove into telling me everything about your encounter. You enjoyed sharing that memory with her. Do you think you'll see him again? I don't know. He didn't seem to be from here. Oh well, I guess he'll always be a mystery. Let's talk about her. What was your biggest highlight of the summer, Lee? Talking to you is always the best part of my summer. Oh, you. Even though it was a phone call, you just knew Lee was winking at you. Yeah, right. Alright, okay, so a high point for me was when I took the trip with my parents to Europe. That was amazing. That must be super expensive though. You only continued to go over your adventures until you both were yawning to each other over the phone. After that you decided it was time to say goodbye for now. You did have school to wake up in the morning. Bye, Lee. Bye. Night, Rina. Talk to you later. You left the phone on the side table for now. Looking at the clock on the wall, you saw that there was only about 10 minutes until your moms would be insisting you had to go to bed, so you could be rested enough for school. You stretched your legs out on the couch and sighed in defeat, watching the minute hand change 1 minute closer to bedtime. You rearranged yourself, feeling restless, and looked out of the window. Startled initially, you spotted a figure out in the hills. It was Kobe. When the surprise faded, you realized it really wasn't that much of a shock at all. It was exactly something Kobe would do. I mean, why not? Strolling casually, you went over to the front door. When you arrived, you noticed how many fireflies were out that night. They drifted along lazily, barely minding your presence as you waded through the reach to the top of the hill. Kobe turned towards you as you approached, and you noticed right away that Kobe looked happy to see you. Hey. You had a bounce in your step. You weren't sure how long you'd get before your moms roped you back inside for bed. Hey, what are you doing out here?
Nothing.
Nothing, not really. He shrugged, seeming unhappy with his own answer. You stared at him, waiting for him to continue. Well, I guess I was feeling kind of weird about stuff, so I'm getting some fresh air before bed. Nodding? His mouth pulled into a bent smile. Copper let himself fall back into his butt and then all the way down, so he was laying on his back. He looked up at the sky. Why would you do that? I mean, I am an avid... I absolutely adore teasing Cover, but even I would not do that. That would be kind of really... Why would you do that? I mean, I'm kind of curious how his reaction would be, but let's not do that. Let's lay down. You allowed yourself to lay back on the hill. He had been lost in thought, or was possibly waiting for you to situate yourself, but he started speaking unprompted again. Thanks for telling me about my dad, and the money he offered you to my friend. This was probably the last thing you were expecting out of him. Cover seemed to pick up on that and stretched his arm out wide. Cover seemed to pick up on that and stretched his arms out right in front of him. This is where we met, remember? It happened that day. You could recall the sad little boy with a pink cast who you found in the very spot. It felt like a lifetime ago. I kind of have a strange feeling looking at you. Not in a bad way, just thinking about you then and really seeing you now, it's something. It was almost unbelievable how much of an impact he made on your life just by moving in next door. You couldn't even imagine what your days might have looked like in a world where you hadn't met him. Cover glanced back at you, waiting for a response, and you had no idea what to say. Then, still without a word from you, Cover gave an exaggerated shrug. What? It's you. Huh? He snickered before answering. He looked thoroughly amused with your reaction. That's what you do all the time, so I'm being you. Wait. I gotta read. Uh, So do you. Really? Yes, always. Cora couldn't help but grin at that. Honestly, there weren't many people you could think of who could tease you about something like that. Returning a smile, you realized there was no denying that you two have been around each other for a long time. Cover broke the quiet before it could fully settle.
See you tomorrow.
Hey, I'll see you tomorrow. Yep, see you then. With a final wave, Cover headed for home. But you stayed there a few minutes longer. Your mind kept going back to a simple statement. See you tomorrow. No matter how much was changing around you, there were some things in your life that always seemed to remain true. For now. The hills felt warm to you that night. Before you knew it, you were getting comfortable under the covers in your room. Your mind couldn't help but still be buzzing with thoughts about the future. You felt... nervous. Every bit of your gut felt like it was being turned into a pretzel. A new chapter of your life was about to begin when you were worried what new changes were waiting for you. Slowly your eyes grew heavy as you drifted off to sleep, your mind spinning with wishful thoughts. No matter what happened next, you could only hope that you would make the most of it. You were ensnared in a dream where a noise from the outside world just let you. The The light clutter continued. Now you were more alert. You could distinguish it as a tapping sound, quiet, slow, persistent. Cover, did you climb our house again? Each beat was like being poked. You couldn't ignore it. You lifted your head from the pillow and looked for the source. Not much work was needed to puzzle it out. It was from the window. With that, you knew exactly what it was. Cover did climb the goddamn house again. From the color of the light filtering into your room, it was too early for anyone to be awake, including the sun. It had barely hauled itself over the horizon, but that didn't stop some people, it seemed. You sat up in bed, opened the window wide. Cool air, not yet warmed by the day, tickled your face as it pushed into your room. And just as you expected, there was your neighbor crouching on your windowsill. He was fully dressed, though not for school. "What are you doing, boy?" He was wearing a wetsuit and a fond smile. "Are you going to go surfing now?"
Rina.
"Hi, Rina." You stared back, blinking. So technically we won't be back to school for a few more hours?" His voice was delicate yet deliberate, each word a careful explanation. "Classes haven't actually started yet, so do you want to hit the beach with me one more time this summer?" It would be like, "Why are you doing this early in the morning? I am not a morning person, not at all." "But well, if you're gonna climb my goddamn house this early and make such a suggestion..." Okay. Carver chuckled conspiratorially and returned a nod. You rushed to get changed into something suitable while Carver climbed back down to ground level. Your limbs, still half asleep, struggled somewhat as you attempted to coordinate them into a swimsuit, but you got there in the end. Soon you were tiptoeing out of your front door, clutching a towel. Carver was already there to greet you. "Do you know how cold the ocean has to be at this time of day?" Your eyes met. Carver's gaze darted to your destination and back to you. You checked the door was closed, gave him a thumbs up, and two of you leapt into action. Wordlessly, you began to run down the familiar path ahead, Carver beside you. The thrill of your illicit outing made you want to laugh. Not that you dared. If anyone in your family looked out and saw you, then your summer would be back to being over. One glance at Carver told you that he was exactly the same, holding back snickers for fear of being hurt and caught. The towel streamed out from under your arm like a cape. You were running so fast downhill that simply keeping your balance and not tumbling down was a real threat. It just wasn't enough of one to make you slow your pace. For every step you took, the beach was a little closer and the day a little brighter. What lay ahead of you would arrive, and you were happy to meet it. The water must be so cold. So cold. Can't say that I've changed much since then. Ring? Nah, I don't like rings. Nail length. Mostly short. They get in the way when you do sports. Headscarf. Ah. So many colors. Yeah, not much changing here. Done. Okay, now we're getting into crush territory. And sadly, I am a very big idiot. I have no brain cells at all when I have a crush. It's like, it's very bad. It's horrible. You do not want to be near. It's very bad. So nervous. See, it will be very embarrassing. Okay, and here I'm gonna cheat. Because I really like cover with a ponytail. I really like it, and I would be very sad if I don't get it. I would be very sad if I don't get it. It's not like I dislike this hairstyle or anything. It's just I really like his ponytail. I just really like it. It looks very nice. I mean, just look at it. It looks great. What else can... As long as he has a ponytail, I am happy. Alright. Since you're romantically interested in Corvin and are old enough to start being physically affectionate more seriously, you can choose what initiative level he has throughout step 3. Make sure the player experiences what they want is important in their life, but always putting your choice first can potentially make a relationship feel one-sided. So we've added some flexibility in how it works out. Lower initiative means that Corvo will occasionally ask to touch the MC, and in those situations there will always be an opportunity to say yes or no. For example, he won't simply lean over and kiss the MC as a greeting or in an emotional moment. Every piece of physical interaction will be either initiated or approved by the player before it happens. Middle initiative means there will be those certain times when Corvo requests to touch the MC, many chances to initiate affection on your own, and also Corvo will pretty regularly give affection automatically. One example would be giving the MC a kiss because he's happy or emotional or something else. And in other situations you can choose not to make the first move, in order to give Corvo the space to be the one to act afterwards. Overall, Corvo can get romantic, but the player's agency will take priority. High initiative includes everything middle does, but also means the player agency will be reduced to a degree in favor of having Corvo give physical affection even more frequently and less prompting. Instead of all the major affection giving situations being led by a choice menu for you to decide on, some will instead be replaced by Corvo acting automatically. This level is only recommended if you are very comfortable with physical affection and would prefer to simply see it happen, rather than always holding the reins on it. However, this level is mostly relevant if Corvo ends up as your official boyfriend at some point. Situations where high-level initiative makes a difference tend to come up in scenes that are exclusive to being in a relationship. These parts are also included in the middle initiative. You're seen as whoever you're dating or not. Once you pick your level, it can be changed later, so keep your full playthrough in mind when deciding. We hope you enjoy whatever initiative option you decide on. I would say middle is good. Middle is good. Okay, and this is where we finally end the part. It's already gone way too long. So... then I will end the part here and we'll continue next time in our life. So, until then, bye!